Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 66. Hard to believe, but we are just marching along. Hopefully you're there happy and safe and sane. And well, I mean, a couple of those. I mean, you could pick which one you want to be. And with me as always is the lovely Sandra. Sandra, welcome.
Hello, hello.
And Sandra is actually in warmer climes now. So for those of you who are watching this contemporaneously, you'll know that Sandra sometimes sits in a cold, deep freeze, but she's out of that now. So, all right. Hey, so for those of you who don't understand the format, we kind of stray a little bit from politics. We talk about a lot of other things and always interesting. Hopefully you learn a couple of things or two and all that. If you have a mind to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the little bell so you get a little notifications. I mean, now isn't that scary? Also, you can go to the Facebook site, which is Position to Win Book, and go check that out. It is personed. How's that? I mean, am I starting to sound politically correct? It is poisoned by one Sandra. So don't say anything nasty and mean about it, but say whatever you want to say and ask questions, and they'll probably show up on the show and all of that. So with all that said, Sandra always stands in for you, the audience, and asks some questions. And today we're going to be talking about reviews online and accuracy and what they're like and all that. So, Sandra, what is a first question as we dip our toe into this pool?
Why are reviews so questionable on the internet?
Well, before we had the internet, we had the saying that if somebody had a bad experience, they'll tell nine other people. And if they had a great experience, they would tell maybe somebody else, maybe one person or two. And the internet has exacerbated that to an extent that's unbelievable. And I think it's because it's so much easier to leave a review and you can get to the point of saying, well, I'll go out and say, whatever I want to say. And I know that I've run into lots of reviews that were just idiotic. Like, I ordered this from Amazon and the guy came to my door and he knocked over my flower pot and, water dripped onto my wicker thing. And, why did they do that? Now, it has nothing to do with whatever you're looking to buy, but they just put it out there. And Amazon, in their infinite, I guess you could say, wisdom, puts it up. Now, of course, we have reviews all over the place. In fact, we have sites that are review sites. And then I think we actually have review sites that review sites. And I think they're questionable because people don't understand what they're for and why they need to say these things. My favorite is where somebody says, we went to brunch on a Sunday and we showed up and service was slow. Now, maybe that's important, but we sat there and fumed and fumed and fumed and fumed. And then I had to write, several hundred words and they have a novel. And what they don't do is they don't really tell you what you want to know, which is good place, good food, bad food. I mean, if the service sucks, the service sucks. But I just, so I think we have so many questionable reviews because again, it's probably not 9 to 1 anymore. If you have a bad situation or whatever you deem bad, which by the way, I can tell you where it comes from expectations not being met. People show up with insane expectations. I just got notified a couple of days ago that Amazon Prime has this new service that will deliver in 2 hours. And that means that there's like a guy sitting in a parking lot waiting for me to order this so he can screech and drive over. I mean, this is how crazy we get. But that isn't really how the world truly works, is it? So I think we have a lot of questionable reviews on the internet because we have a lot of people who have apparently a lot of time and they want to be able to spout off on it. So, Sandra, what's our next question?
How do you know which reviews to trust?
So that's a good one. And by the way, there are lots of, and I have had clients who have done this, and I won't say who they are, but where they said, I want to get some really great reviews, and they hire a service. Now this has changed over time, but they would hire a service, and then there would be, Bobby and Tommy and Sammy and Joey and Jimmy and whatever in Bangladesh writing out these. And then, of course, bots got invented to do this. And it was all about trying to game systems and try to put up fake reviews. And there's lots of fake reviews. And I think part of the fake review, sifting and sorting is kind of go through a review. And if you see like really mangled English, again, I'm doing this in English, folks. So, I mean, if you're sitting there watching it somewhere else, I'm doing this in English. I speak kind of English. That's what I do. But if you see mangled English that's all crap, likely it is not a real review. And I understand that there's a lot of people who can't spell, and there are a lot of people who put up reviews who aren't even close to it. I mean, I'm not, again, I'm not a speller, but I can tell you that if I'm correcting their spelling, they're really suck. So I think that the how do we find reviews to trust is that you have to find people who are actually they used the service, they believed in the service, they did something, they look like a real person. Like if you go and look them up, I'm very suspicious of, Todd J from Salt Lake City. I don't trust him at all because I don't know if there is a person. Now, by the way, that is from the old direct response marketing game in which I came from years ago. I mean, it was one of the worlds I lived in. And that direct response world is that you would never put somebody's full name up on a review. So you would put up testimonials, but it would be the person and their initials, and then they would be in, Poughkeepsie or, Atlanta or whatever. And that was okay. But frankly, that also, there was a bunch of people back then who were faking them too. So the ones that I trust is I read them over. And what I want to do is see if they actually have some in depth knowledge about the product or service that I'm going to buy. And I can tell you that if the amount of money is not that big, reading lots of reviews, in my mind, is a giant waste of time. I guess I got to tell you, because I don't want to go and spend my precious time reading reviews that, it's like, geez, I mean, I'm going to go buy something. I mean, come on, buy it. You don't like it, throw it away, move on. So I think the way to find them you trust is you have to say, if you know something about this, is do they look real and legitimate? And more importantly, does it look like somebody actually uses the product? That's one of the things that I do not trust. And again, I do not have an Instagram. I don't have one of those. I know what Instagram is, but I know a lot of people who get paid a lot of money to do Instagram endorsements. And all I can tell you is that I question almost all of those as being real. And the reason for it is that they're getting paid money and they hold up said object and they go, ooh, yes. Now, if I'm watching a commercial on television, you know, satellite and otherwise, I know it's a commercial. But if I'm watching something that's on a website, got to be careful that it isn't made up, because most of the time it is just made up. Little sidebar is that I learned something very important about reality TV shows years ago, which is when I met people who were writers for reality TV shows, and I went, "Wait a second! I thought you were doing a reality TV show. People would just do reality." And the guy looked at me and said, "John, people are not that interesting." Okay, next question.
All right. Should you respond to bad reviews about your product, service, or company?
So one of the things that happens when you read a crazy review, a bad review, a review that you feel is unkind or unsupported or whatever it happens to be, is that you have to ask yourself the question is how much time you want to spend on it. I've had people write some pretty knuckleheaded reviews about things, and you can tell, especially for products or services that I've been associated with, is that they really haven't utilized the product, or they don't know what the product is, they haven't done what they're supposed to do. So what I'm going to say is that you want to make sure that you are careful with it. Now, here's the high-tech way to answer this question, which is get yourself some tools. I'm not talking about like going to Home Depot or Lowe's or something. Get yourself some software tools and take the reviews and shove them through, like finding out if you can see signatures that they're a bot or signatures that are something else. Because if you can really determine they're a bot, you can then, go back and say this is a bot. So I respond to stuff when I see that it is absolutely incorrect and unfair. And more importantly, it doesn't make any sense. Now, the interesting thing is that working with a bunch of clinics is that we would have patients who were unhappy and they would put up bad reviews in an attempt to force a refund, even though they may have gotten the uh, product that they bought and it worked the way it did, but they were just unhappy. See, people like to work the system, and you have to figure out how far you're going to go and what you're going to spend your time doing. Part of this cancel culture that we live in right now is that people will gang up and write bad reviews. And I think that we're, we may not be at the bottom yet, but we're going to be at the bottom pretty soon, which is now, if you can't trust any of the reviews because they're all a bunch of crap, then you know what? Then you can't trust them. And then we're going to have to come up with something else because that's a critical factor. Now, if you're wondering how to get something that will help you understand this situation even better, what I would recommend you do, and this is absolutely 100% subjective, and that is I would suggest that you do is you fire up your browser, you go over to Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Books a Million, and you buy not one but two books. You buy, first off, Remote Work for a Better World. It's 99 cents on Amazon. Come on, you get one idea, you get a quarter of an idea, you get a third of a quarter of an idea, you'll get your money back. But essentially, that was done because of the pandemic and written by myself and 9 others who came together and band together to get this thing pumped up. Also, my book, Most Businesses Fail in Their First 5 Minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win. What we're really talking about is, in fact, testimonials, reviews, statements, promotions, all of that deals with how something gets positioned. And for the most part, people do not understand how they are positioned. Now, this becomes a critical aspect. Also, you can go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com, and you can go buy the book there if you want it signed by yours truly, by me. My statement to all of you is that if you are not positioning yourself each and every day and figure out what your position is going to be, that someone will position you no matter what, and that you will, in fact, probably be unhappy with that. So my suggestion is that you take it into your own hands, go find out how to position yourself properly, and more importantly, I believe it's an enjoyable read. But of course, I'm biased because it took me 30 years to put it together, and I found the right co-conspirator, co-author, and he happens to also be a Colombian. So go for it. And if you do that, I think you will find out that you will enjoy life in your business better. Okay. So, Sandra, what is the next question that ties into these reviews?
How do reviews pollute your ability to find what you want?
Well, and I like the idea that we use the word pollute, because when you pollute something, here's one of those things that just, and I am not advocating this. I am not telling you to do this. I actually had some pain in the ass person do this to a property that I foreclosed on. He got very angry. And because he got angry and he was losing his house, what he did was he took a quart of motor oil, punched holes into the top of it with what looked like a screwdriver and a hammer, and tossed it into a pool, a swimming pool. And 1 quart of oil absolutely polluted and destroyed. And we had to pump out the pool and clean it out, all because this guy was a jerk. Now, that's what pollution does, is that it pollutes it. Now, reviews are the same way, is that the way the reviews have gone. And I'll just give you an example of something that happened to me, which is I read these reviews. Again, I'm at a timeshare, read these reviews, and found out that there was this really cool, small donut shop. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of neat. Go get someplace local, right? And I go there, and as I'm going there, I notice on Yelp that this person had written the maximum word count review. And there were other maximum word count reviews. And the guy, I called him Sir Bear Claws because Sir Bear Claws said I drove 15 miles and I got there and they were out of bear claws. And then I spent how much time writing the maximum review on Yelp. Don't ever go to these people because they disappointed me because it didn't have bear claws. Now, I don't know if that could be a capital offense, but as a business consultant and a business owner, I just think that's insane. They ran out of bear claws and you flamed them. You gave them 1 star. You told everybody to avoid them. I think they ran out of bear claws because people raced in there and bought bear claws. Maybe there was a bunch of bikers who were, roaring along and, maybe they were the Big Bear Biker Club and they ate all the bear claws. I don't know, but those are crazy. And in fact, they told me, because I asked the question, how much business have you lost because of that? And they said it affects their business every day. That to me is polluting it. If the place was dirty, if you got a rat tail in your donut, if they didn't take care of you, the thing was, a Cajun style donut. I don't know, whatever that would be. I got it, but running out, that's bad. Now I know Sandra, you have run into the same circumstance, but in a different way. So what is your experience with these kind of kooky reviews that people put up?
Yeah, so I guess I've had a few. Um, so one of them, I was trying to buy clothing, undergarments, just needing some updates in my wardrobe. And just the total degree of like garbage that's in there, whether it's completely irrelevant, commenting on like a style of or like a form of a color. But I think the oddest part was half of these reviews were men wearing women's clothing, which I don't care if you do, but maybe get something more relevant to the product. And then the other one was when we were trying to get a PlayStation, people just writing 1 star reviews because they couldn't get one. And then other reviews back to those people saying, get out of here. This isn't what you're writing a review for. Well, then why are you commenting back like it's a Facebook comment section? So there's yeah.
And Sandra is attempting to be modest. So, all I can say is that when she shared this story with me, and I'll have to whisper it, is that when one wants to go buy, I don't, a garment of this type, guys, if and maybe there's a big market, bras for guys, or you know, you know, boy shorts for guys or something, or thongs for guys. Now, I mean, hey, whatever works for you, great. Just always remember this. I mean, this is what I've learned over my years of experience is that women's lingerie is the less material you get, the more money it costs. I mean, because you can go to Walmart and buy granny panties that you could use as a car cover for less money than some of these other things. I got to tell you, I mean, and maybe that's what but yeah, hey, I got it. So yes, not to embarrass Sandra, but she was there, and you got some big bruiser of a guy who's just having an ill-fitting bra, and I understand it could be embarrassing, but sometimes it just doesn't work as well or as designed as it should be, and I got it, I got it. So yeah, that's what I would say. Those are the polluters of it, and if you said it right up front to say, listen, this is who I am. But I presume, Sandra, that you had to read quite a ways into the review before you found out that it was, Big Charlie, a biscuit short of 230 pounds who couldn't find the right cup size. Is that what we're talking about?
Correct. It was like a paragraph long description. And then that was like the end defining sentence was just like, well, I'm also 6'2" male and like 260 pounds. I'm like, oh. Thanks.
I tell you, and that is the tragedy. Sometimes you just can't find the stuff to fit you. You just can't find the stuff to fit you. Yeah, well, there, there you go. So,
We
so
just
now,
threw out a business idea.
yeah,
Feminine men's underwear could make a bunch of money, at least with the amount of reviews I've seen.
I'm sure that there are sites that just do just that. So anyway, and if anybody, if you go make a lot of money, go to the Facebook page and then tell us, hey, because of this feeling of guilt that you really, you and Sandra should have some money. Now, and we don't want garments. We just cash, only cash. So well, and the thing that I always find interesting about these kinds of weird site things, I find it a lot also in like higher end high tech stuff like cameras, where somebody will say, well, the Sony XYZ, this one isn't as, because I've now had, this is my fourth generation, and they believe that they need to bring me up to speed by going back to when these were first came out. And then this one had this feature, and this one had this feature, and this one had this feature, and this one has this feature. Now, never gets to the point of saying, does this camera work? Does it do it? Well, and and I don't like the way the hinge works. I mean, great. Now, I do not mind if somebody wants to share that, but it would be really nice if somebody would just say, look, this is for somebody who's a nitpicking professional. But what I always love is when somebody says, this really isn't as good as, and then they name a technology thing that you then go look up, and it's like crazy money. Yeah. And because we're doing like a live show every week, I mean, I spend a fair amount of energy and time and money trying to make these better and better production values. And I got to tell you, there is a bottomless pit that you can toss money into to buy technology. And so I'm very careful about the reviews, because I have, a boxes of crap that supposedly had great reviews. So, all right, what is our next question, Sandra? Now that we have taken care of the, and for those of you, be nice. Don't go asking questions about Sandra's shopping habits now. So, okay, what's the next question? So,
Why is it so hard to get good reviews?
I think it's hard to get good reviews because when somebody likes something and it works, once they're done, they move on. And having worked with now hundreds of clients over the years and thousands of products, is that rarely do they actually take the time and build that into their marketing plan or build it into what they're doing. And they'll do some half-hearted thing. My favorite is that I was doing a program called, happy dentist, sad dentist, and we did 15,000 approximately questionnaires. We went in and did surveys. We did that. Now, I had the survey built up, and it was professionally laid out and put together by a survey expert. It was really cool. Had a call center at the time, and we called people up. And I really should have named it, pissed patients, angry dentist. I think that would have been more accurate, because everyone, with the exception of one dentist in the entire country that I worked with, every single dentist got bad reviews. Now, understand, for those of you who are saying, well, John, it's what happens. They were hand picking the people we were calling. These were supposedly the best people to call. My favorite one, and it would be inappropriate to play the audio, even though we told them we were recording it for training purposes. My favorite one is that my shift manager calls me up and she says, John, you got to listen to this one. And it turns out that this woman that we were calling, who was the patient, she was the cousin of the dentist. And she said, listen, if I wasn't related to this son of a bitch, I'd be suing him. Now, that would be so good. I mean, can you see that on a website? Hey, if I wasn't related to this son of a bitch, I'd be suing him. So it is hard to get good reviews, and most businesses don't even try. So if you're out there and you want to do it, you have to put in a concerted effort. Just remember, this is going to be a very low conversion, a very low turnover, and it is going to be hard to get them, but they're worth getting. But the reason why it's so hard is that when somebody is satisfied, they tell maybe one or two people. But if they're dissatisfied, it appears that they have no other job than to go and crap on other businesses. And I just shake my head and wonder, can they just go get a life? If they go get a life, they would actually realize that, you know what, nothing really is going to live up to expectations. Not really, unless you like spending a crazy amount of money. And then people will put up with your annoying habits and try to do really great things and move that along. I was once told a story in Vegas, and I don't know if it's true or not, but a high roller was unhappy about the swimming pool and at the sands and was so unhappy, and he bet so much money that he didn't want to get in the pool because he was unhappy about the pool. I'll just leave it at that. And they drained the frickin' pool and cleaned it for him so he wouldn't go to another hotel. Now, that is insanity. Now, obviously, he must have been losing tons of dough, and I would have put up with the nonsense too. So, all right, Sandra, what is our next exciting question?
All right. How did you fight the Amazon beast, and what was your experience getting reviews?
So when we wrote the book, most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes, and put it up there, and understand that we have a distribution through our, or we have a distributor who will then put it up on Amazon, and then we also have Kindle versions. Is that, we have a bunch of people. I have a bunch of people. Dave has a bunch of people. We have a collective audience, and hopefully you'll read it and get something out of it and put it up there. And people started putting up reviews that knew us, and that was great because again, we had that close in support. Now these were not, you know, uh, Billy and Jimmy in Bangladesh. These are like real people. And Amazon rejected a couple of these because they said, wait a second, these sound like too good. In fact, at one point in time, I don't remember how many we had, but it wasn't a ton, it was a handful, but they were all 5-star ratings. And Amazon sent us a nice little note that said, hey, we're suspicious of your ratings. The bot is watching you, and the bot is watching you because you have too many 5-star ratings. You need to have some people crap on you because that's not really possible. Now, never fear, we ended up having some people put up some reviews. And by the way, some of them I would love if they were not cowards. I would have, and they could get a hold of me. I mean, again, I'm not behind like this giant great wall thing. You could go to the Facebook group, and you could say, hey, this is what my experience was. And I'll talk to you because this was a 30-year odyssey to get the book out. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. I mean, I didn't climb to the top of a mountain and get them pounded out in clay tablets or anything. But what I did is I had to fight Amazon to let some of the reviews go up because they said that this sounds too much like this review and this review. Now, it wasn't that I was sending templates. We didn't do that. It was because most of the time they were people who knew me or knew what the subject matter. And in fact, were writing this from their perspective, and they had similar perspectives. So if you are selling, back to Sandra's dilemma, if you're selling bras for big burly men, my guess is that you would have the same kind of review again and again and again because the big burly men all have the same problem of every big burly man who ever tries to buy a bra. That's a lot of B's. But I'm going to tell you, don't send photos either. But I'm going to tell you that there's just, so we had to fight that and fight it and fight it. And it is a process to go through. And Amazon has a couple of things. We know they use AI, and we also know that they have very opaque standards. They claim that they're very well defined, but in my experience, they're not. So what you have to do is you have to be resolute. You have to work on it, and away you go. And what you do is just have to keep asking people, please put up your good reviews so people can find it. And their algorithms absolutely look for reviews, and away you go. So my experience is getting good reviews. A lot of work. And by the way, when I see somebody who has like 10,000 reviews, I'm very, very skeptical, just because I've seen some really great books and some people I know hard to get authentically more than a few hundred reviews. All right, Sandra, we got time for one more question.
All right. What is a good plan to deal with reviews?
We live in an internet age. You have to always keep working to get reviews. You have to take care of the customers long past the time that you sell them. There is something called the 4F Club, and you can go look up what that means, but it is kind of like find them something, and then forget them. And I'll leave the something so you can go figure that out. Lots of businesses have been built using that kind of caustic formula. I think that has gone away. And you have to remember that, to me, selling is a process, but it is not linear, it is circular. So as soon as you get done selling the customer whatever you've sold them, it is now time to continue to sell them on what is the next thing that you want them to engage with you and buy. If you only have a one shot, one and done, then the thing that you have to sell them next is to give you a review, a testimonial, a referral, anything that you can possibly do. I was talking to a coaching client earlier today, and I asked him if he in fact sent a thank you card to somebody who referred him a gig. I mean, the guy got a gig, it's producing money every month. Looks like it's going to be a longer term gig, so he's going to make some serious money out of it. Not crazy money, but good money. And he said, yeah, John, I really haven't gotten around to that. I've called the guy up and said things were good. And I said, well, let me tell you what I did just, a few days ago. So last week I was in Las Vegas, and I got a box from my engineering services company. I had to take it apart and divide it into two separate sets, I guess you could say, or separate units. And then I had to get it all reboxed and shipped to two different locations. And the folks at FedEx in Las Vegas, she did an outstanding job. So I would highly recommend going to see them. In fact, I took the time to review her specifically on FedEx's website. But here's what I really did. If somebody does a great job for you and they make your life better than it would have been otherwise, because it could have been, now, every FedEx office I've ever been to, they'll put in some effort and they'll do some things. But Mitzi went way over the top. I mean, way, way, way over the top. And she did a fabulous job. In fact, better than I could have done myself. And I've done this kind of packaging exercise. And these are all high value items. And what I did was, while she was working on this, because it was going to take a while, and I'm one of these people who wants to see it to the very end and understand that it's done. I'm not a set it and forget it kind of person. Is I walked down to the Starbucks and picked myself up a Venti decaf with an extra shot of decaf Americano. And I got a Starbucks card for her. And I came back and we were wrapping up. And I said, you did a fabulous job. And I handed her the Starbucks card. Now, all I can tell you is that she told me more than once that I did not have to do it. And the answer is, you don't have to do it. I don't have to do it. No one has to do it. But part of life is actually giving people a good review when they deserve a good review, and maybe cutting them some slack when things aren't quite where they should be. Because if you don't, what you're doing is you're just not helping people out. Now, if people do a shitty job, I mean, I get upset. I'm a highly energized person. But what I try to do is not take it too personally and not go out and try to ruin that situation. So if you're in business, find a way to get people to want to give you great reviews, and understand that reviews, testimonials, referrals, all of those are bundled together. They're all cousins. They're all riding around as a little trio in a clown car. And it's up to you to deliver exceptional service, understanding that you can't please all the people all the time. Some famous politician said that. And what you need to do is you need to do the best job that you possibly can. If you do that, you'll get great reviews. And what you will discover is that you won't be like the title of my book says, that most businesses fail in their first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to win is that you'll position yourself as somebody who does outstanding things on a regular basis. And if you do that, then you'll get the best reviews possible. So I'm John Palmadutch of the Raging Verbalist, for myself and Sandra, the lovely Sandra, who stands in for all of you. All I can say is go to positiontowinbook.com, go to the Facebook page, go to YouTube, do all those things. But what I really can say to you is go give somebody a great review. Go deliver somebody great service so you'll get a great review. And more importantly, add and not subtract to this world that we all live in.